Aloha, Scott the Asset Manager here. This time I want to talk about a pen. This is a Kaweco Dia2. And a few months ago I watched a video by Joost Appelbaum where he interviewed the CEO of Kaweco, Michael Gutberlet, if I remember that correctly. And if you haven't watched that video, I would recommend it. Maybe I'll link it down below. And one of the questions he asked him was sort of what he thought was his most underappreciated pen in the Kaweco family, and the Dia2 was the one he suggested. So since I've been kind of thinking about getting a Kaweco Sport, wanted to see all the fuss was about there, I decided to add a Dia2 to my order, and it is actually a nice little pen. And I've started to see it prop up in a few online reviews and discussions lately, so I thought I'd give you my thoughts on this pen. So let me rearrange things so you can get a better look. And here it is, the Kaweco Dia2. I got mine in the gold trim, and as you can see, there has the name Kaweco on the cap. These knurls here on both ends. Don't be fooled, this is not a piston or a blind cap. Those are just for decoration. 2 gold rings on the barrel, one there in the in the cap, one there in the barrel. Gold trim here in the ring. You've got written here in gold, Kaweco Dia, Germany. The clip is fairly stiff, so you sometimes have to pry a little bit to get it on my shirt. It does have this nice rise, so it does clip on sometimes quite nicely as well. Fairly classic shaped pen. You can see it's a little bit broader here and tapers off at each end. Mine has the gold-plated steel nib in the medium. You see another gold ring there in the section. There are threads here. A lot of people talk about, oh, there's threads on the section, but they're not sharp. I've never had a pen that had sharp threads that bothered me while writing. Maybe I'm lucky, maybe I'm insensitive to those things, I don't know. But this one certainly is another one of those pens. I do tend to keep my fingers on the threads. It is a cartridge converter pen. This is the standard Kaweco cartridge. One thing I think it's of note is inside the barrel here, there's a spring at the end. So when you assemble this, you do have to push down a little bit and then turn. I don't know why that is. It does have a nice feel to it in doing that. You have that little resistance, feels nice, kind of feels solid, but otherwise it doesn't seem to have any particular functionality. It does add a little weight to the back of the pen, and it does come up a few grams heavier than pens of similar size. You also notice on each the cap and the barrel, okay, you've got the Kaweco cap there, a little logo, and same on the other end here as well. There you go. Okay, so that is a look at the Kaweco Dia2. So I thought maybe I compare this with some similar pens, at least size-wise, and just so you get a feel for it. Price point at Appelbaum, these are currently, let's see, around $78. And this is one pen you might know. This is a Platinum 3776 Century. These typically go for $160 or so. This one actually found on Amazon.jp for $60 only for this size nib, which is a fine. So, and that was okay with me. So you can see this is a little bit, the Dia2 is a little bit thinner and a little bit longer. I mean, a little bit shorter than the 3776. And this is a Mont Blanc Classique. This is the Le Petit Prince version, but it should be the same as any standard Classique in the Meisterstück line. And again, this is a little bit thinner and a little bit longer. But uncapped, I guess I'll go ahead and keep them the same way. And I'll try and line them up so you can get the sizes here. I think it's interesting. Uncapped, the Dia2, actually a little bit longer. So these are all probably standard size pens. I might venture to call them small pens, but they really are standard size pens. And you can see they're about the same size, although the Kaweco is a little bit longer. And let's see, yes, I also thought it'd be good to compare with just a standard Kaweco. This is the Kaweco Collection AL Sport in the Vibrant Violet. That was the one I decided to my first sport. I don't think I'll be amassing a lot of these, but this is a nice pen. So this, you pretty much always write with it posted, and posted it's actually a little bit larger than the Dia2, and then again with a 3776. So that gives you a feel for the size of the pen, hopefully. And let's see, the weights. The Dia2 comes out at 27 grams, 19 without the cap. The Platinum here is 25 and 16, and the Mont Blanc is 24 and 16. So the Kaweco is a little bit heavier, both in the uncapped pen and the cap pen, and that might be those few extra grams, and might be that spring in the back. So that does give it a little bit of additional heft, but it also gives it a little bit more weight at the end, right? So it's a little bit more heavier towards the top of the pen. And for comparison, right, this is a little bit longer than the Classique, which I also write with uncapped, typically at least. Occasionally, when I'm feeling crazy, I might post it. And the 3776. So price-wise, $80 roughly for the Dia2, $160 of the 3776, and it's really not even fair to compare anything to the Mont Blanc prices. So this is probably $650 to $850, depending, for the special version like the Le Petit Prince, or $650 or so for the sort of normal Meisterstück Classique line. So half the price of the 3776. 3776 has a gold nib. This one's steel. And if that's your thing, you can get a gold nib for these. They're about $150, so that would then end up this being a little bit more expensive than the street price of the 3776. So why don't I show you how it writes? So I've got this loaded with Leonardo Blue, and again, this is the medium nib. The paper here, let's see, this is an Ampad gold fiber paper. I just started using this. The first time I tried this pad, there's a significant amount of bleed through here, so I'm not sure I will keep using it, but here it is. For now, we'll try it and get some more experience with it. Smooth writer. I did ask Applebaum to smooth and tune when I ordered the pen, so I don't know, how much work they did, but it did write right out of the box, and it writes in its own weight nicely. So that's all quite nice. It is just a certainly round nib. There's no real line variation there, and the nib is fairly stiff, so I don't really. That was me there. I don't press it to get any line variation here. It's not really what its forte is going to be. It's a nice writer. It's fairly smooth. There's a little bit of feedback. That's probably the paper more than the pen. I don't feel it quite so much on other paper. So you're definitely not getting a great example of handwriting here, but at least you can see the pen writes well. You get an idea for its line. So this just a nice pen. It writes well. The medium line is right. This Leonardo ink seems to work very well in it. And let's see, this is my Mont Blanc. This is also medium, so you can get a little comparison here. And this is I've got Mont Blanc Royal Blue ink in this one, so you can see it's a little bit different than the Leonardo Blue. And this is the 14 karat gold nib, I believe, and on this pen. I'll put some lines up here. I'd say the Mont Blanc medium looks a little bit thicker. I'm getting a touch of feedback here, and which is really only a touch less than the Kaweco. The Kaweco is giving me some, not a lot. And the 3776 here, this is in the Bourgogne. This is a fine. And let's see, what do I have in this one? This I have the Mont Blanc, the Petit Prince and Planet Burgundy, because what else would I put in a burgundy pen, right? I do try and match my inks where I can. Again, this is a fine line. I'll go back up here. And this pen's already, maybe partially because it's a fine, but this pen always gives you a little bit more feedback. And it's a little more pronounced on this paper. I think you get the idea. So I think, in summary, I think this Kaweco it's a nice looking pen. It's an elegant pen. It's a simple pen, but I think you don't want anything too flashy, and you just want a pen that does its job. This one fits that bill pretty well. It's, I think, a step up from some of the entry-level pens. So I definitely think it is one worth considering. The experience in the hand is quite similar to both these more expensive pens. You don't get the cachet of the snowflake or the gold nib here at this price point. And at $60, you really can't beat this. All three are cartridge or converter pens. So I think this is definitely one worth considering. The styling, some people don't like the knurl. It feels nice to me. It looks fine. It does kind of look like maybe this ought to be a piston or a blind cap here, and it's not. But it could also just as well be a design element, right? Because you wouldn't expect this to be necessarily something you'd unscrew, although to get the clip, maybe, I don't know. So I think in conclusion, I think Michael Gutberlet was right. This is a nice pen. Maybe they just made too many of them, and this was just a marketing ploy, and I fell for it. But he said this was kind of the most underappreciated pen in the line. And I only have two Kawecos, right? Just these two. But I actually am quite fond of both of them. And this is maybe I should show you this case. I got this from Galen Leather, so it's a kind of, I think the color matches, but what do I know? At least the stitching does, yeah. Just a nice case. Look at that. That's a good match for Kaweco pens. So you can keep this in your pocket and protect it, and the leather feels nice as well. So I actually got this, and I had this for quite some time without a pen to go in. So I knew I had to eventually fill it with a Vibrant Violet pen, as I have. So anyhow, that's it today, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you see me next time. Aloha, bye-bye.